So this was my Twitter over the weekend. I put out a very simple tweet. As you can see, it's up to 14,000 interactions, and I know that's not lots of people, but for me, it's pretty big. Great protest chant in Dublin. Posie Parker, you can't hide. You have Nazis on your side. Very accurate, very clever. Also stops any debate about Nazi involvement like we saw at Melbourne, because whether Posie Parker agreed with their presence or not, they definitely were, quote unquote, on her side. Now, I think that's pretty cut and dry. But as you can see, with 116 comments and 37 retweets and, you know, all sorts of bits and pieces, the conversation
then chum in the water there, Pat. The
conversation then flowed into things like, we all witnessed Albert Park, no Nazis there, so I had to put up the article where showing the Nazis at Albert Park. You know, I had a bit of fun. Textbook, bearded, misogynist, woke bro, how so, show your workings. I had a bit of fun. Bob McCoskey, this isn't going well, or it is, highlights how overgeneralizing works. You know, went on and 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 on. Now, I just thought it was, and look, this is why I love it when people comment on who I am or who we are, I guess, Chewy, and they don't realize that I'm literally saying what a clever chant. Just like we said 3 weeks ago, no more labour pains, no more labour pains was a fucking clever chant. Like, it was a clever
Love a good chant.
A clever chant, and I thought if you want to see the actual event, this was the chant that I saw on Twitter. You got Nazis on your side. You got Nazis on your side. And look, I actually tried to engage with some people. I know it's silly, Chewy, but the point being that, especially, well, let's just reference Melbourne. In Melbourne, the Nazi community came out to support the message that Posie Parker was sharing. That is someone who was on your side. It's completely fair. We've talked about this a lot. We've talked about the idea that you guys have to recognize, that's the wrong word, reconcile. You guys have to reconcile. Sorry, that was my, I can't even think of the word for not knowing my words. Dyslexia kicking in twice then. You have to, I just lost the word again, reconcile the idea that you have people who call themselves, this is not me woke broing them, calling everyone a Nazi, you have people calling themselves Nazis, flying swastikas, doing salutes, right? Those people are identifying themselves who are agreeing with your message. You have to reconcile with that, and it's indisputable. Now, you could say the enemy of the enemy is my friend. You could say, no, that's really all you can say, because you can't actually challenge what I've said, because people who called themselves Nazis, who carried swastikas, who did Nazi salutes, turned up to her rally and supported her. They were on her side. Doesn't mean Posie Parker wanted them there. Doesn't mean that she endorses them. Doesn't mean that she is one. She might be, she might not be. I don't know. Doesn't mean that she wanted them, but they supported her. Someone said to me in a tweet, one of dozens, you know, that I was calling her a Nazi, and just associating them with her means I was calling her a Nazi. And I just basically said, so this is what happens, yeah? When the British Armed Services and the American Armed Services fought in World War II, they were on the same side, but they weren't the same entity. They weren't the same army. They were different armies, and they had different countries and different identities, but they were on the same side. This person, Posie Parker, and this group, the Nazis, are on the same side, furthering the same narrative, to which most people were saying, oh yeah, because Nazis are so pro-women, aren't they? And it says, no, they're anti-trans. Yeah. This is the point you need to reconcile with. Chewy.
This is actually very similar to what we said around the parliamentary protests as well, right? I don't care how valid your argument is. If the Nazis turn up and support it, you have a very brief moment in time where you go, get the fuck away from us.
Yeah.
And that's the only chance you have to keep your argument even a shred of relevance, in my opinion. You get them the fuck away from you, because that is the appropriate reaction when a group of Nazis turn up to anything.
And let me say this, right? And someone's saying in the chat that she defended them in 2023. I didn't even need to go there. Like, to be honest with you, I don't label people very much. It's very easy to label those people from Melbourne Nazis because they called themselves Nazis and they were holding Nazi memorabilia and stuff. So it's very easy. I don't typically do that to people. So So whether she did or didn't, whether she is of that belief or not, the point was, and this is what's so brilliant about that chant, she can't hide that they're on her side. Right? You can't hide that. And now what you got to do, unless you are a dishonest actor, which there was a lot of them on Twitter over the weekend, this is what now you have to do. Hey, we've got Nazis who want to further the same narrative as we do. Do we need to stop and check ourselves before we wreck ourselves? Because people are saying things like, oh, you know, if Nazis listen to your podcast, does that make you a Nazi? I'm like, well, if Nazis were saying exactly what I was saying and then wanting to further my message, I'd probably pause and go, fuck me, what message am I putting out there? But apparently they don't. I've got one more clip for you, Joe, before we move into the last thing for tonight.
Yeah.
I saw this just today. This was uploaded by Posie Parker, I think last week.
I talked to my family yesterday, and I've been talking to them over the last few days about this. And they have asked me not to go.
To New Zealand.
And I just don't think I can. I don't think I can. I don't think I'm going to get in the country. And even if I do, I don't think the police at all are going to protect us. I think it's just...
They're not private security.
Just impossible to go.
I also watched a longer clip on Calvin Morgan's Twitter feed. And she said in that clip, because the New Zealand police are corrupt. So that's why this clip in the write-up says Posie Parker is not coming to New Zealand because something, the New Zealand police are corrupt. But that just kind of wraps up this story. I've been talking to Ali in the last few days, the tomato sauce juicer on Twitter, and she is open to coming and having a chat with us. Suggest that maybe after the court case. So maybe later in the week we may have her on to have a chat about her perspective and her side of the conversation. I'm done with that, Chewy. Is there anything else you want to wrap up with before we get to your favourite character from Red Dwarf?
Isn't it funny that it's her family that's stopping her from coming? It's not money. It's not the fact that we dog walked her out of this country. It's not that other people standing up against her saw what happened in Australia and New Zealand and have used that. Good job, Dublin. That sort of counter protest is gaining momentum, and she is losing her argument. This person did never. What was it? She always wins. Is not winning.
Always,
and we're part of that.
Yeah, actually, I need to make another one of those. The last time I made that, I got 100,000 views. I need to make another one of those and do it for that video. That's exactly what I should do. I might do that tomorrow. So yeah, and look, it's brilliant. I heard someone today say something like, I'm not talking about Posie Parker here, but I'm talking about conflict in general. I've got the wrong words, but like be gentle with the person and rally against the system. And I quite like that idea. And I think that this chant, you can't hide, you got Nazis on your side, is a perfect way of actually, it's almost taking Posie Parker out of that conversation, because it's not actually needing to engage with her. It's going, just remember, those people who agree with you hate Jews and, you know, hate gay people and are anti-trans. And so these people who disagree with you, even if you want to go down the enemy of my enemy as my friend, are still on your side. And what's the debate for that? There's no debate. There's no debate whether they are or aren't. They are on her side. They are wanting to further her narrative. They are singing from the same song sheet. So whether she's into them or not, or agrees or disagrees, I'm not saying that doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter, but to me, them being on her side, which actually, Chewy, in fairness, we've been saying this since day one. It's like, how does it sit with you that these people want the same thing as you do and they want to further your message? That's something that you have to come to terms with, people. You have to, because you can't just ignore it, because it's inexplicably accurate. I think it's the wrong word, but it's unchallengeable that they want the same thing as you guys want. It's unchallengeable. What does that mean for what you want? That's all I would ask you.